All right, everybody, welcome back to another trade recap. We took a loss of $150, and I'm very frustrated. I am very frustrated that I took this loss. I had the right bias, I had the right idea going into the market, but we took the wrong trade. And here's what the trade looks like. So going into this trade, I was very bearish, and the reason why I was bearish, okay, okay, there we go. The reason why I was bearish is because yes, we did make a bullish SMT off of London session lows, but we failed to take out those Asian session lows. As you can tell, well, actually, I'm not gonna get into that just yet, but we failed to take out Asian session lows, and since we failed to do so, I was only looking for the market to possibly go shorter. And I wanted Asian session lows to get taken out. So the idea going into the market was to wait for a confluence before entering into a short position. The first confluence I had in mind was this 5 minute sell side imbalance that was formed. And inside of this, there we go. And inside of this 5 minute sell side imbalance, there was a 1 minute sell side imbalance. And that is the imbalance I looked to take a trade inside of. So the imbalance that was formed, not this one, but we had a 1 minute imbalance here that was formed. And once that imbalance was formed, that is actually where I wanted to place my entry. But this is where I failed to realize. When I entered into the trade, one, we never entered back inside of the 50% equilibrium, which is a 50% PD array. My PD array never got tapped into, so the market actually stops me out in less than 5 minutes. I kid you not. We entered into the trade at 10:10 a.m. and we get stopped out at 10:12 a.m. It's 2 minutes, 2 minutes, literally 2 minutes. And a part of me, when I did enter into the trade, I did not feel too confident in it because we had so much bullish momentum to the upside. And that bullish momentum was created by what? This bullish SMT that was formed. Once that bullish SMT was formed, um, we had a couple breaker structure points at these highs, but we never had a retracement inside of any key level, so I didn't want to go long. It was just a massive move to the upside. The 5 minute is exactly what I'm talking about. This was the 5 minute sell side imbalance that we had. We never had our proper retracement to go lower, but we continued pushing up higher inside of a 15-minute sell side imbalance. And oh my gosh, I did not have this labeled out whatsoever. I didn't. I genuinely did not have this sell side imbalance labeled out. It was not marked out before I took a trade. I was purely going straight off of this imbalance here. So that is another rookie mistake that I made, and lessons are learned for sure. I learned a big lesson. I learned two big lessons for today, but it was just today was one of those days where I just had the improper markups. I didn't mark up everything exactly like I normally do. Um, it's not that I got lazy. It's just that I genuinely did not mark it up. We had some bearish SMTs in the pre-market, and that is what really pushed the idea of staying short for today. These weren't really valid. If I'm being completely honest with you, these weren't really valid SMTs because these aren't really highs that are being formed. This is not a high. We had a high at this point here. This little move up that we had right here, that's not considered a high. In the 1 minute it was, and I just labeled it out just cause, but I should have just stuck with a 5 minute SMT, which is what we got here. And once we made that move, that breakup structure move here, then I could have placed an entry based off of the 50% key level. Market continues displacing lower. We inverse this zone, meaning we respected that key level, and the market continues pushing up higher based off of that 5 minute inverse fair value gap. So as you can tell, a lot of the mistakes was based off of improper markups, not being patient and waiting for the market to enter inside the correct PD arrays, and overall just not truly staying disciplined to the strategy. Going back into this trade, One of the mistakes I made was not allowing myself to wait for the market to close above these highs. And if I had just stayed patient and waited for the market to close above this 5 minute fair value gap and just waited for the market to close, then I would have realized that this was a still continuation to the upside. I would have realized that, okay, since we are continuing to displace higher and disrespect smaller smaller time frame confluences, then I would have realized, okay, this is not a trade that I should take. And I've been, oh my gosh, dude, it's just so frustrating because um, the last 3 days were terrible days to trade. There was not a single trade that presented itself. Today we actually had a day to where I could take a trade, and I freaking failed because I didn't stay disciplined to the strategy and I didn't stay patient. I jumped to conclusion. I literally jumped to conclusion. And that's what's really frustrating to me is the fact that I just jumped to conclusion and just assumed that the market was going to continue displacing lower based off of a 1 minute confluence. My gosh, bro. It's just a silly mistake on my end, and um, that's just what unprofitable traders do. Make these stupid and silly mistakes. But I'll become profitable soon. I have the correct mindset. But yeah, that was the trade for today. Um, if I had taken a long position, it would have worked out perfectly. It literally would have worked out perfectly. So, as you can tell, kind of going back to this displacement move that we had, this displacement move is very important because it signals that we are very bearish. This first displacement move is very bearish. And once this move happens, normally what tends to happen later on is that the market has to rebalance itself. It has to rebalance itself in some way or some form. So, what we get is we technically do fill in over 50% of this displacement move with this trend. But if I had just paid attention to the small details the market was giving us, which was this bearish, or not bearish, but this bullish SMT divergence that was formed, if I had truly stayed patient and realized, okay, since we have this bullish SMT, since we have that bullish SMT, we're making massive moves to the upside. We had to break a structure. And from there, what are we doing? From there, the next and only thing we are waiting for is a what? Oh, why did I delete? Bro. Is this a retracement inside of a 50% key level? This stuff works almost every single time. It has never failed to not work. Of course, there has been, I think, I'm not gonna say never, but there's been 2 or 3 times out of the last mm, 8 trades that I took in, 8 or 9 trades, and this stuff has like worked to the T. But it's just it's truly about being patient. Okay, you have to realize that trading is not easy, and if you are not staying disciplined to your rules, you're gonna make this a lot harder than it should be. I made a very wise decision today. I really wanted, so I really wanted to enter into a trade, a long position after we made these displacement moves to the upside. And the entry I had marked up and was waiting to enter was, of course, this 5 minute inverse fair value gap. When the market retraced inside that 5 minute inverse fair value gap, I was looking for a 1 minute confluence to align with that 5 minute inverse fair value gap. And that's exactly what we get. We get a 1 minute inverse fair value gap here. And bro, I literally had my long position set for this right here. I was going for a 1 to 3 because that's normally all I go for is a 1 to 3. Um, bang, just like that. And it would have hit TP, I believe. Yeah. So this was the trade I was intending to enter into, but my rule is to only take one trade a day because if I take another trade after that, it is a sign that I am chasing and I'm chasing after the money. This is very good discipline for me, and this is very good discipline for you. When you start making more money off of trading, you have to get comfortable with taking one trade a day because when you start scaling up, you're gonna make way more money. And if you start snowballing, you're gonna start losing way too much money. You don't want to start snowballing because once you start snowballing, you're gonna continue to go down and take more losses, more L's, and then you're gonna get mentally drained off of trading. And it's not a good look. So this was the trade that I really wanted to enter into. I really wanted to enter into that trade, but I couldn't do it. If I did, I would have broken my rules and I would have took a trade for what? For no exact reason. But yeah, that is the trade recap for today. Hopefully we can find something tomorrow. I have not been doing videos because the market has not been presenting anything for us to trade. So hopefully I can take a trade tomorrow. If I can't, oh well, it doesn't matter. But I should have some more coming here in a little bit. Really just focused on time management. That's the most important thing. Making sure that I'm doing everything in a timely manner, especially with work. I have work on Saturday, so it's just a lot. Anyway, that's all I really have for this video. Trade recap coming up tomorrow if we take a trade. Till then, see you guys soon. Hopefully I can see you guys tomorrow.